If this message has found you today, it was not a random event. There are very particular times in life when the heart can sense a truth long before the brain can understand or deal with it. This steady feeling, this deep sense of knowing that gives you no peace and stays in the back of your mind, has a real reason and a deep goal. Life is trying to share something that is clearly linked to this story, to this special bond, and to a choice that can no longer be put off. It is not a threat, and it is not a way to make you feel scared with these words. It is about a truth that needs to be heard right now before staying quiet causes more pain than any wrong word ever could. The confusion was felt very strongly. There are days when everything seems to get cold for no clear reason. When the physical and emotional space between people grows too much and then moments follow where signs show up, sudden memories or tiny actions that wake up that fire that has never been totally put out. This emotional back and forth is not a mistake and not something you just made up. It is the exact mirror of a struggle inside that does not belong to the person hearing this message but comes from the other side of the connection. There is a tough fight between pride and feelings, between the fear of being open and the need to stay, between letting go of the link or having the nerve to face one's own truth. The universe and the energy see what the human eye misses. These moments of deep wanting are felt when no one else is around. The fear that is hidden is noticed. The words that are practiced in front of the mirror but never actually sent. And the choices that are slowed down because of a lack of bravery. Because saying yes to a real commitment truly means saying yes to a big life change. And change is always a bit scary. It is frightening because to love from a real place means giving up the need for control. It means breaking down the walls built up over many years and walking on a path you do not know where it is no longer possible to act like you do not care. Maybe the thought has come up about whether the situation is just a dream, whether too much is expected from something that feels stuck, or whether this connection is real or just a fantasy created by wanting company. This doubt hurts a lot because it makes the heart tired, wearing it out to feel that you are giving more, feeling more strongly, and waiting with what feels like endless patience. But it is vital to take this comfort with a calm mind. When a bond is born from a deep and real root, it does not die with time or distance. On the contrary, it changes, it is put to the test, it stretches to the very edge of what it can take, but it does not go away. When someone tries to run away from what is real, life itself makes sure they have to face that run. There is something that is about to break in this person who has walked away. It is not a bad break, but a needed breaking of the masks they wear. Because there comes a point when acting like this bond is not important, becomes a task that cannot be done. The empty feeling left by being gone weighs much more than the fear of a promise. And it is right there that unexpected things start to happen, not because everything has been fixed by magic, but because the soul can no longer stand to keep hiding what is shouting in the silence. This message does not come to make you force things to happen. Life does not ask you to chase, to push, or to get worn out trying to win someone over. Instead, watching and trusting are what is needed. And more than anything, not to go against your own gut feeling because you are afraid of loss. Because if you choose from your inner truth, life gives back clear answers. But if you choose out of fear and worry, everything usually stops moving. There are now two clear paths. On one side, you keep doubting what you are feeling, acting like the signs are small and trying to tell your heart that maybe it is better to quit before you get hurt again. This path seems safe and makes sense, but it slowly moves away from what was meant to grow and get stronger. On the other path, one chooses to stand tall without begging for notice, without forcing meetings, but without shutting the heart to the chance of just staying in a place of self-respect and faith and letting the other person go through their own walk. The result of acting on this sureness is clarity. The result of not doing this is repeating painful loops. The same stories, the same empty spots, and the same questions with no answers. Life repeats lessons not to be mean but as a way of teaching, because it knows that inside you there is a huge power to love, but also a habit of putting up with too much when you should not. This is the comfort that needs to be heard today. There is no being alone in this walk. You are not making up everything that happens. There are quiet moves that have already started, inner choices that do not yet show up in the physical world, but can be felt in the world of energy. Life is not in a rush, but it does not stop either. And when the perfect moment arrives, everything lines up in a way that the logical mind cannot rule over. This person feels the loss even if they are physically around other people. They feel the instant risk of losing the link, even if they act like they are safe. For souls who are joined by something bigger are not just replaced. They know each other, and when one tries to get away, life shows them the same name, the same memory, and the same feeling over and over again. It is very important to pay attention to how your body and feelings are doing. Not because you are scared and want results right now, but because of the peace of knowing that what is coming is not born from a quick whim, but from a truth that has already grown in the quiet. And when this stage of not being sure is finished, you will understand why nothing happened sooner, why it was needed to walk this lonely road, and why this waiting was allowed before the move. But to understand why this person is running from something they want so much, you must first understand the fight that is going on in their dark side, something that mind experts have been trying to tell us for 100 years, and that shows the real reason behind their weird behavior. If you are ready to bring this lesson into your life, write in the comments that you trust your gut. To truly understand why pulling away happens right when the bond seems deepest, it is needed to look at a view that goes past the surface. Famous thinkers like Carl Jung, who studied the human mind, spoke of ideas that explain with great detail what is going on in the head and heart of the one who chooses to stay away. It is not a lack of love or care. It is about a much more complex mental and spiritual thing known as the mirror effect and meeting the dark side. Knowing this is the key to stop taking the distance personally and start seeing it as a sign of a wake-up call. When two people share a link of this size, the connection works like a perfect mirror. A mirror does not judge. It just shows back everything that is put in front of it with total clarity. In this bond, the other person not only sees the light, love, and care offered to them, they also see their own weak spots shown back, their unfaced fears, and their old hurts that have not yet been fixed. Jung said that everything that is not faced on the inside makes fate show up on the outside. So, the presence of someone who gives total love and total acceptance can be scary for those who have not yet learned to love and accept themselves. This is where the idea of the shadow comes in. The shadow stands for all those parts of who we are that have been hidden, held back, or denied because we fear not being liked. These can be deep worries, feelings of not being good enough, or the fear of being left. When the power of this love touches these dark areas, the natural reaction of the ego is to protect itself. The person does not run from the one who loves them. They run from what this love makes them feel about themselves. They run from the open feeling that comes with showing themselves as they are without any guard or masks. The connection is so bright that it lights up the corners that this person would rather stay in the dark. This is the start of the instability that is so confusing. One day the want for connection wins, and there is closeness and hope. But the next day, the fear of being truly seen, the fear that the dark side will be shown, takes over and causes them to run. It is a loop of wanting you close, but pushing you away because your light is too much. It is vital to see that this behavior is not a vote on the worth of the one who waits, but a confession of the fear of the one who runs. This person is fighting a quiet war between wanting to be lost in the bond and the fear of losing who they are or control over their heart. Accepting real love needs a level of guts that not everyone has at the same time. It means stopping the control, taking down the guards, and walking on ground where you can no longer act like everything is okay when it is not. And that is scary. It is scary because to truly love is to leave yourself open. Maybe you have wondered if you are making things out to be better than they are, if you are hoping for too much, or if this link is real. This doubt hurts because it wears out the heart to feel that you are giving more, feeling more, and waiting more. But you have to listen to this with a calm spirit. When a link comes from a deep truth, it does not go out, it changes. The most common error made at this point is trying to force things to get closer, thinking that with more proof of love, the other person's worry can be fixed. From the view of this mental mirror, however, the reflection that scares the other person gets bigger the more you chase. If you get close to someone who is scared of their own dark side, that person will naturally move back to stay safe. The chase is seen without knowing it as pressure to face something they do not feel ready for yet. So, the back and forth is not by chance. It is the mirror of a fight inside that does not only belong to the one who waits. There is someone who fights between pride and love, between running and staying, between losing the chance of a happy life or facing their own demons. Life sees what cannot be seen with the simple eye. It sees the nights when that person thinks about the bond when no one else knows. It sees the fear that is not talked about, the words that are practiced and never sent, the choices that are slowed down. Because accepting love also means accepting change, and that is what makes the wall. It is key to see that, in a strange way, running away is proof of how much the bond matters. If the connection was small, there would be no need to run because nothing would be at risk. No one builds walls against something that is not important to them. You build forts around what you think is worth a lot and can be hurt. The distance is actually a short-term safe spot where this person tries to fix their inner world, which has been moved by the start of this love, and they are trying to get back a sense of control that they lost the second the heart started to feel so much. In this scene, pride acts like a wild guard. Saying you need someone or saying you were wrong by moving away needs the ego to die. And the ego will fight to the very end to stay alive. That is why you see actions that do not match. Sudden coldness or long silence. It is not real lack of care. It is an act, a mask that the ego uses to get time while the soul keeps pushing toward the truth. Jung said that we do not find light by dreaming of bright things, but by becoming aware of the dark, and this bond forces the other person to make their dark side known, whether they want to or not. This doubt which comes up when looking at weird behavior hurts because it is tiring to feel that the balance is off. But you have to keep in mind that when someone tries to run from what is real, life takes care of facing them. There is something that is about to break in this wall, not in a bad way, but in a needed way. There comes a point where acting like it does not matter becomes impossible because the empty feeling is heavier than the fear. And it is right there at this line that unexpected things happen, not because everything is fixed, but because the soul can no longer take the mismatch. So the plan is not to break the mirror or try to clean it for the other person. The plan is to let the mirror do its work by staying in your own center without chasing. And without running, you give the other person the only real chance to see their dark side without feeling like they are being hit. You make a safe spot where fear can slowly turn into wanting to know and then into accepting. It is an act of great faith to trust that the inner work of the other is going on even if you do not see fast results. And this is exactly where the error that most people make happens, trying to force things or asking for logical reasons for a path that is purely about feelings and spirit without knowing that by doing so you are stopping the other person from facing their own empty space. They are robbed of the chance to miss, to value, and to see on their own what they are losing. For the return to be real and for good, it must be born of freedom, and from the other person's own knowing, not from you being persistent. And for that to happen, something big must first be felt: the physics of being gone. Understanding how the shadow works is only the first move in opening up the situation. Once you know that running is not about you, but a defensive move to a mirror that is too bright, the question comes up as to how to act. The answer is not in chasing or talking them into it, but in a much older and more powerful rule that runs everything in the world: the physics of energy and the law of the empty space. There is an invisible way human links work that is as exact as gravity. And when one learns to work with this law instead of fighting it, the way things move changes completely. Up to this point, natural habit has likely pushed you to look, try to fix, ask for reasons, or just stay around so they do not forget you. It is a human way to act. When you feel something of value slipping away, the first instinct is to run after it, to hold on. In energy terms, however, this chase makes a result that is the opposite of what you want. Think of the bond as a rope that joins two ends. If one side pulls toward them with force and tries to bring the other closer, the quick reaction of the other side will be to pull the other way to keep balance and not lose their spot. As long as there is a force that chases, there will be a force that pushes back and runs. This is where the physics of being gone comes in. All the time your focus was stuck on the other person, sending texts, checking their moves, or just spending hours thinking about them. Their ego and sense of safety were fed. The one who runs basically feels in a spot of power and ease. They know someone is waiting. They know there is a safety net made by the other person's care. This sure feeling let them stay away without feeling the real weight of being alone. The energy sent acts like gas, letting them keep running without getting tired because they do not have to deal with the fear of loss. But what happens when this energy source stops all of a sudden? When the choice is made to pull back focus, not as a trick or a way to punish, but as a move of self-love and keeping yourself whole, a huge change happens. By letting go of the rope, the push on the other side has nothing left to fight. The force they use to stay away suddenly has no point, and they lose their balance. Those who ran suddenly find themselves in a still space with no one on their tail. And then true silence makes its big entrance. This silence is not just no noise or no texts. It is a real energy gap. Science teaches us that nature hates an empty space and is always trying to fill it. When the energy that covered and helped the other person is taken away, a hollow spot is made around them. At first, this person might feel a quick relief and think they have their space back, but this feeling goes away fast. The relief turns into a strange feeling and then into deep worry. This person starts to notice an odd coldness, a lack of life in their day-to-day that they cannot explain with logic. It is as if someone had turned down the sound of their life or turned off a light that, even if it bothered them sometimes, gave them heat and a path. In this state of an empty space, the mind of the one who went away starts to work in a new way. They no longer spend their energy making walls or excuses to keep from being caught because no one is chasing them anymore. Now this brain energy is free, and since it has no outside foe to guard against, it turns inside. Interest starts to wake up. They wonder why the search has stopped, whether the interest has gone or whether they have finally lost that total support they thought was always there. Doubt, which used to belong only to the one who waited now, moves sides and stays in the mind of the one who left. It is vital to see that this process does not happen in one night, but it is going to happen. By taking back focus, you give the other person back the full job of their own feelings. Before, only one person carried the fear of loss. Now this weight is going back to the first owner. The other person is forced to feel the full size of the split without anything to dull the pain. They have to face the truth of their life without the steady heat they used to get. And it is in this contrast that true value is born. No one values the air until it starts to run out, and no one values the deep presence of a bond until being gone becomes a real thing and not just a far-off threat. This energy pullback has to be real for it to work. It is no use stopping the writing if the mind is still stuck and shouting that person's name in the quiet. Energy does not know how to lie, and the hidden link sends the truth of what you mean. The physics of being gone needs the focus to really shift, going back to your own center, taking care of yourself and growing. When the vibe changes from needing to being okay on your own, the message sent to the world and the other person is one of pride and high value, and there is nothing more like a magnet in the world than a person who feels whole by themselves and does not have to beg for love to feel okay. At this point, the other person starts to feel what could be called energy loss. They might try to get a quick reaction to check if they are still in control by sending mixed signals or showing up for a second. These are not yet real tries to come back. They are safety checks to see if the rope is still there. If you stand tall and do not jump to these crumbs, the effect on their mind is doubled. The proof that something has really changed in the way things work creates a new rush. The safe ground they walked on has gone away, and now they must learn to hold themselves or find a way to fix the bridge they helped set on fire. The energy gap acts like a louder truth. Without the noise of the chase and the drama, the pure heart of the feeling stays. If the bond is real, the silence will not kill it. On the contrary, it will make it ring out loud and clear. The physical space stops being a relief and becomes a quiet pain. The other person starts to feel the gut need to fix this link, not because they are made to do it, but because their own soul starts to get hungry for this energy that they turned away before. They see that the freedom they thought they wanted feels empty without the person who gave that freedom a point. It is a fragile and strong moment. The scale is now even. There is no more chaser or chased. There are only two people who face their own truths in the quiet. And while this move of no outside action but great inside move is kept up, the ground is being made ready for the next part. Because if the silence becomes too much and the ego no longer gets its usual food, the person will try to fill this hole. They will try to look for other things, look for noise outside to quiet the noise inside. But as we will see next, they will very soon find out that when a link is from the soul, there are no other things that can fool the heart for a long time. The moment the chase stops, a quiet but hard stage begins for the one who has moved away. A stage where distractions stop working. Once the energy gap stays, the first move of the one who moved away is usually not giving in right away, but a fast try to avoid it. The human mind, when met with a truth that is not easy or a painful loss, naturally looks for a way to numb it. At this stage, it is very common for the other person to try to fill the hole with noise, lots of work, or being around other people. It is the ego's last way to prove to itself that it is in charge, that it can live without this deep link, and that the choice to leave was the right one. They get lost in work, spend more time out, or look for shallow fun that lets them not think, not feel, and most of all, not remember. However, this is where a thing that must happen occurs. If the bond is real, While trying to find in other places what was only in this special link, they hit an invisible wall. Life lets them look. It lets them see other paths, and it lets them try to connect with new energies, but it does so not to hurt anyone, but to show the huge difference between the shallow and what belongs to the soul. Every try to replace you becomes a painful sign of what has been lost. This person might be out, meeting new people, starting talks with love in mind, or just looking for others to say they are good. But they will notice something that they will find very troubling. The talks feel empty, with no flow and no depth. The spark that flows naturally in a soul link cannot be made up with someone else. This person will find themselves sitting across from someone else, maybe someone who has all the right things on paper to be a good partner. And yet they will feel a bored feeling they cannot take. They will notice that they have to force a laugh, that they have to explain their thoughts too much, that this comfort of just knowing does not exist, where a look would be enough to get each other. What they were looking for as a nice, fun thing turns into a quiet torture. Comparing becomes something they cannot stop, and it is mean to the new people. Every flaw of the new person makes a good part of the bond they left look better. The shallow way of others makes the depth of the link they try to forget shine more. At this point, the excuses they gave themselves to stay away start to sound fake. They told themselves they needed room, that they needed to be free, that maybe there was someone better or easier out there, but the real world shows them that easy is sometimes just empty, and that being free is no good if it feels like being in a desert. The try to tell themselves that time will wash it all away fails badly. Far from cleaning the memory, the distance and the bad comparisons make it sharper and more wanted. They see